Yo, what is going on YouTube? It's your boy Dan, aka aDrive, bringing you guys another Pokemon Sword and Shield video today. Today we're going to be talking about a handful of different topics that I thought were really interesting regarding the brand new games, including some information that you might not know. We're going to talk everything from graphics to pokedex to all sorts of stuff, man. This video is going to be packed with a bunch of different information, so tune in, get rid of the rock, and be sure to hit that like button down below, subscribe if you guys are new, and let me know which of the new Pokemon revealed is your favorite so far. I'm a big fan of Duraludon. I think that thing looks really cool. Looks a little cheesy in some ways, but I think he just needs a good friend and a good partner, and it could be really cool. Still waiting for that first bug-type Pokemon, but nevertheless, let's just jump right into things, man, because there's a lot of really cool information that kind of picked up over the last 24 hours since the reveal, so let's talk about it. So anyway, one thing I wanted to mention was the Champion Cup. This seems really interesting. Once a year in the Galar region, a series of battles are held with the league championship on the line. This is the Champion Cup. The Champion Cup is a tournament to decide who will be able to challenge the reigning champion for their seat. Exemplary trainers throughout the region, such as those who successfully completed the gym challenge, are allowed to participate in the Champion Cup tournament. The Champion Cup battles are broadcast on TV, and the people of the Galar region will be watching. So what does this mean? This means that it's likely that the E4 is going to be gone. The Elite Four seems to be a thing of the past, or at least most likely a thing in the past, or maybe not the focal point, but instead it's going to be more anime style like the Champion Cup, where players around the region who have completed their gym challenge are able to battle it out in a champion bracket style format to ultimately go for the championship. We know that Leon is the champion so far. He's got all those sponsorships. He's sponsored by Game Freak. He's sponsored by the Corviknight taxi service. He's sponsored by all sorts of stuff, and he may have some evil team connections there, but nevertheless, the Champion Cup is going to be pretty integral to the Sword and Shield kind of gameplay, so that's going to be very interesting. I actually prefer this. I think this is really cool, having a massive tournament style for the Elite Four, or instead of an Elite Four, have this massive tournament style thing. There may still be some sort of an Elite Four as like the elite, like the best trainers or whatever, but I'm kind of thinking that if they just do like a Battle Frontier type of thing, that'd be way cooler anyway. So really cool stuff. I think a lot of people kind of missed out on this, so I wanted to show you that. Now we're going to jump into some really cool stuff. There's actually a brand new move that I believe is similar to Mind Blown or Draco Meteor. I'm not sure, but let's take a look here. So we're on Cerebee's Twitter, a couple things. There's some custom clothing that you're going to be able to get as a DLC in Japan by using a certain distribution, which is going to be in the UK. So these tracksuits, that's pretty tracksuits. I think these are going to be in-game, but you'll be able to get them. And right on top of the hat there, we see what we're expecting to be Yamper's evolution. But that's for another story. So here is the new move. This is some direct feed of the screenshots, and here it is. So the most powerful steel type move is going to be named as Do or Die, and it might be a translation pun or incorrect translation, Exhaustive Beam, one of these, but you can see Duraludon there firing off this brand new move and just one shot in that Tyranitar, and that's going to do some massive damage. And it does seem to be like Mind Blown, which is the signature move for Blacephalon, which does a massive amount of damage and then cuts the HP in half, or does 50% of HP to it rather. So this new powerful steel type move has been revealed. The animation for the first time here has been shown, and you can see it being used right now. You get 5 of them, and again, a really cool move, really cool thing. There was a contest in Coral to name the move, so this is going to be that move, and it looks really sick. I mean, it looks pretty cool. Big, powerful steel type move, and honestly, that's not a bad thing. Like, I can definitely see certain steel types really taking advantage of that, especially things like, I mean, if you throw like a Kartana in there, it's probably special, but nevertheless, so some interesting stuff there. Now, there's been a lot of talk about these numbers on the jerseys and what those mean. They correspond to dates when the different, like the actual trainers, like the main character, the protagonist has the number. It usually corresponds with a date, but it seems like the gym leaders are actually, their numbers seem to correspond with something different. So we're on Reddit here, and this guy figured this out, that 831 is actually, is supposed to spell out the word vegetables, which is a translation. 049 spells out swimming, which is Nessa's water type. 193 spells out Ikusa, which is combat, and then of course Alistair, the ghost one, spells out hateful. So I thought this was very interesting information on Reddit. I do have a tendency to browse Reddit from time to time, and I found this out, and I thought this was really cool because I thought originally the 831 had to do with the release date of maybe a trailer or something like that, August 31st maybe being an important date, but it does seem as though this is too coincidental to not be intentional, in my opinion. I mean, how could someone have figured this out and it just be random? Like the fighting type person says combat, the water says swimming, the grass says vegetable, and the ghost says hateful. You know what I mean? Like, too coincidental to not be intentional, I suppose. So Very interesting there. On Reddit, I also found this breakdown of the Pokemon so far that are returning to the Galar region. I'll probably make another, this is graphics provided by the Galar Border Patrol. I'll probably make another kind of video talking about the decks at some point, but this is very interesting. So you look at the distribution of Pokemon that have been revealed so far. Now, obviously, there's going to be more Pokemon revealed, but Gen 1, 21% of Gen 1's in, 37 Pokemon, 21 for Gen 2, 23 for Gen 3, 24 for Gen 4, but I think a lot of these are actually like evolutions, if I'm not mistaken. I know there's obviously a lot of evolutions in Gen 4. My theory is that there's going to be less Gen 4 Pokemon because Diamond Pearl remakes are going to come out. That's been my theory, but we'll see. Gen 5 is represented by 31 Pokemon, Gen 6, 23 Pokemon, and Gen 7, only 17 Pokemon so far. So that's the distribution up to this point. Pretty evenly distributed with more of a skew towards Gen 1, which I think we can pretty much expect. I think you're just going to inevitably see the Gen 1 Pokemon. It'd be very weird if like things like Charizard weren't in it, but Bulbasaur and Venusaur weren't. But, I mean, anything's really possible, so I'm not going to count that out. Again, I do think that legendaries are going to get taken out a lot. So when you think of the Gen 7 Pokedex, so many of those Pokemon are legendaries. The Tapus and the Ultra Beasts, if you count those as legendaries, right? Those post-game Pokemon, a lot of those are going to be taken out, in my guess. Like, if you remove the Ultra Beasts alone, that's like probably over 10% of the Gen 7 decks, you know what I mean? That's gonna get cut right there. So that's definitely pretty interesting there. Now we're gonna jump into this. There's been a lot of negativity regarding the graphics for Pokemon Sword and Shield, and you can see some drastic improvements. Now, the graphics are one of the last things that get optimized in a video game, and if you go back and look at Breath of the Wild graphics when they were first introduced in trailers, they look way worse than the actual game. And I'm not saying that you should, you know, just be okay with, or like be accepting of the fact that if you don't want to get the game because you have other issues with it, that's one thing. But I genuinely feel like people are trashing on the graphics for this game because of the Pokemon decks, like the lack of decks. But you can see some pretty drastic improvements to the ground texture. The shadow looks a little bit better. The tree in the background looks way better. I mean, this right here, you can see this texture over here looks way better. You can just see the rocks look a lot better. The shading is a little bit different. And this is I think this is actually the same scenery. I mean, you can see back here, they've added kind of like some, I don't know the technical terms, but I'm sure the lighting and kind of the atmospheric, you know, fogginess has been added, and there's a pretty drastic difference with these two pictures. And if that doesn't show it, we have a Twitter thing here. This is going to show two examples of kind of old and new, and you can see some very big differences here in terms of shading, better ground textures, more detail. They added the hill behind the fence, so I don't know, there's a little hill over here, and then there's a little hill back here that wasn't there before, and there's trees and stuff. Like, this stuff wasn't there before. That shows, this image here shows just how much difference, like, is being done graphically. Like, this is massive. They are not even close. They added hills and stuff, man. The game's still in development. And then a few new details added to the hill on the right, so you can see over here, they added more trees and moved some. And then you can look at Leon. This is a good example, too, of the new and old models. They've kind of sharpened up here, kind of cleaned up here. There's some differences there. So there's some pretty drastic changes going on graphically to this game so far and up until this point. So don't just shut it out yet. And honestly, I think the game looks beautiful, but they're not final. And it's like a meme that its graphics are not final. It says in the video, like, you know, on the trailer, but it's true. They're not final. And this is a really good example showing you, this is just a great example. Props to Mood Crush here. This is just a phenomenal example of showing off how you know, the graphics are just not done yet, and they're going to continue to be improved, and I'm going to even assume they're going to get optimized even further. So some pretty interesting stuff there. One thing I saw a lot of people brought up to me on my stream yesterday was version exclusives for Sword and Shield. For those who don't know, version exclusive for Sword is going to be Dino and Jangmo-O. Version exclusive for Shield is going to be Larvitar and Goomy. So they're actually not going to be in both games. This may, if one of these is your favorite Pokemon, it may actually persuade you to go one way or the other for the games. I personally don't really care that much about version exclusives because trading and Pokemon Home and things like that are so abundant. It's not really that big of a deal. You will be able to obviously transfer these Pokemon in, but simultaneously, like, I could see how this could make someone's decision. If you're like a massive Tyranitar fan, you're probably want to get that early game. And you know, or whatever it may be. So this is just something to note there. So these Pokemon are version exclusive. And then one other thing I wanted to just touch on really quickly. I saw this post. I thought this was interesting. Coley has what appears to be some sort of a wheel. It's based off of coal. And then there's a lot of theories that it's going to evolve into some sort of a locomotive train themed evolution. Trains being a very big part of the Galar region. Obviously, there's a massive train track, but also, you know, in the UK in general. But it makes so much sense, right? It's a coal. It's a piece of coal. It's got a steam engine as its ability. It looks like it has a wheel. I'm not necessarily seeing the wheel. I guess I kind of see the wheel, but a little tricky to see. But it is coal. It's got steam engine as its ability. The chance of it becoming some sort of a train Pokemon makes so much sense, because there's going to be some that we haven't really, well, we actually have seen, I think, a shot of trains, but there may be a train Pokemon that kind of guides us around the Galar region. So I wanted to make this video because I felt like there was a ton of little things that I kind of picked up on, everything from the Champions Cup to graphics and the new move and all sorts of stuff. So hopefully this video was informative. You enjoyed it. Be sure to hit that like button and subscribe if you guys are new for daily Pokemon content. Thank you guys so much for watching. If there's anything that you think I still missed and you want me to cover in another video, let me know. I'll probably do an in-depth Dex coverage video soon too. So we got some great stuff coming out. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.